New house price data just came out and it shows that house prices are up 3.8% compared to the bottom of the market. So property prices are bouncing back even though they did take a small fall in December 2023. So you might be thinking, well, where are house prices going up fastest and what's happening with interest rates and what about that tiny little fall in December? What's that about? Well, that's what you're going to get in this property market update. I'm Ed, an economist here at Opes Partners, and this is Property Now. Property prices bottomed out in May 2023 and have been bouncing back for around 7 months now. There was a small 1.1% dip in December, but property prices usually fall at the end of the year. But this year they did fall slightly more, about 0.4% more than usual. But look, I'm not worried about that. You should always expect some ups and some downs in the property market. That small decrease, it just puts property prices back where they were in October. Now, a lot of people will be asking, are property prices going up because of the election, because of the change in government? Here's something really interesting. Property prices were actually hotter directly before the election compared to the 3 months after. In the 3 months to October 2023, property prices went up 2.5%. That compares to 0.9% in the 3 months after. So what does that tell us? It tells us that house prices have been going up over the last 6 or 7 months because the market is naturally bouncing back after a year and a half of some pretty hefty house price falls. They're not going up because of National's proposed changes, at least not yet. Now, remember, the new government plans to decrease taxes for property investors, and for some people, the changes will be substantial. This investor will pay about $111,000 less in tax under National's policy compared to Labor's policy. So look, the new National government's policies will add some heat to the housing market, but that boost is still to come over the next year. But that might make you think, where are house prices bouncing back fastest? Last year I put out this analysis which showed that house prices would bounce back fastest in the areas where house prices dropped the most. Pretty simple, really. We basically said the lower you go, the farther you have to snap back. And so we predicted that house prices would bounce back faster in Wellington and Auckland. Now, has that happened? Turns out the answer is yes. In the last 7 months, Wellington property prices have gone up 7.1%. That is really quick for just 7 months. Auckland property prices are up 4.2% in 7 months. And 4.2% might not sound like a lot, but think about $1 million property in Auckland. A 4.2% increase is $42,000. It's a lot of money. And at this rate, property prices could easily increase 7 to 8% over the next 12 months. That is in line with some of the bank's predictions. Westpac thinks that house prices will go up 8% in 2024. ASB says 7.3%. ANZ, a bit more conservative, sitting there at 4%. Now, will they be right? Well, if you've watched my video from last week, you'll have seen that a random number generator beat the Reserve Bank's economists almost 50% of the time. So all of these banks, most of them are going to be wrong. But who's going to get closest? Well, it's anyone's guess, and the big factor that will push house prices closer to Westpac's higher 8% prediction or down closer to Treasury's 2% prediction, it's going to come down to interest rates. So let's dig into that. But if you like learning about property in this really number-focused way, make sure you hit the subscribe button. We release new videos every Monday and Wednesday. Right now, interest rates are really high, but many commentators and economists expect them to come down a bit in 2024. Now, over the last month, every single major bank has decreased their interest rates. On January the 19th, we saw Westpac decrease their 18-month and 2-year rates. Pretty small all up, 0.04% and 0.1%. Not much to write home about, but it was a decrease. Earlier that week, both Kiwibank and TSB also dropped some of their rates. Kiwibank a few more than TSB there, all between 0.1% and 0.2%. And last year, On the 20th of December, ANZ came out and decreased some of their rates. That was followed by BNZ the next day, and then ASB. Again, not much to write home about, small 0.1 to 0.2 decreases, but they set the scene for what could be to come throughout the year. And remember, interest rates are high because inflation is high. The Reserve Bank has pushed up interest rates to try and cool the economy and stop the cost of living going up so damn quickly. Now, new data came out 15 minutes before I hit record on this video, showing that inflation has fallen away again. Annual inflation fell from 5.6% down to 4.7%, and we are well below those peaks that we saw now in 2022. Now, that 4.7% increase, that is lower than what the Reserve Bank thought would happen. They predicted that inflation would be 5%. Now, that's a really good sign that inflation has come under what the Reserve Bank thought would happen. It suggests that the Reserve Bank may decrease the official cash rate, the OCR, even sooner. Now, that creates the space for mortgage interest rates to go down throughout 2024. So if you're thinking, well, maybe it is the right time to buy a property in 2024, where are the best places to buy? Yesterday, Susan Edmonds from Stuff called me up and said, Ed, where might house prices increase the most over the next year? And I, as well as some other economists, suggested that Auckland was a good place to look. Now, why is that? Because Auckland appears to be undervalued at the moment. It looks like it's at a good point in its property cycle. I think it's about 9.3% undervalued. But some of the other major cities could also have good shopping. Wellington looks about 11.9% undervalued, Christchurch about 9.2%. So I feel more confident that house prices will go up quickly there compared to some of the regions. Now, why is that? Because regional property prices boomed from about 2016 to 2021. So places like Manawatu, Wanganui, and also Waikato, the property prices went up really fast, faster than most of the major cities. Now it's the big cities' turn. Just be careful with Wellington City because it still appears to be on the downward leg of its property cycle. Now, if you're interested in investing in property in 2024, make sure you head to our website, opespartners.co.nz. We help regular Kiwis grow their wealth through new build investment properties.